Hey everyone, Leader Dorset Spur here, back with another review of another game for Tottenham Hotspur. This time it is Tottenham versus Bournemouth. One time you would have expected this to be a banker for a 3 points, easy win, low performing little old AFC Bournemouth with their 13,000 capacity stadium, really low income and all that. And yet now we're looking at a big, difficult game against a high press, a well-organised, a hungry Bournemouth team that are pushing for a European place. And this is Tottenham, who are pushing to get into the top half of the table. We wouldn't have thought that at the beginning of the season. That is not what we was expecting to do. And so, yeah, a bit of a turnaround, a bit of a shocker. I didn't go to the game. For full disclosure, I didn't go to the game. As you know, I was in Alkmaar, and obviously travelling back on the Friday. I know a lot of people have the ability to do both, but for me, it was too much of a stretch, so I didn't go. I'd sold the ticket after the Ipswich game because I was pretty switched off at that point anyway, and that seemed like a good decision to carry on with. So I didn't go to the game, but I did watch it. I did watch it on TV, and honestly, it's becoming really difficult to keep watching sometimes, because it is so frustrating. I'm literally sitting there shouting at the television, which is ridiculous, right? For those who watch, I mean, I don't know whether you watch or not, but the Irish Hotspur YouTube channel, we do a prediction each game for him to put out and talk about. And my prediction for this game was a 2-0 loss. And so when we were 2-0 down, I was kind of looking at it going, well, at least you got your prediction right. At least you got your prediction right. You saw this coming. Because after seeing the Alkmaar debacle, I just felt that Bournemouth would have too much for us. They are too well organised, and they are a real good pressing team that counters really well, and has some decent players in it. You have to accept they have some decent players in their squad. So, yeah, I was sitting there with my head in my hands, just looking at it, thinking, well, there you go. It's exactly what you're expecting. To come away at the end of it with a draw feels like robbery, if I'm honest, because I thought Bournemouth were far better than us all over the pitch. I had a text message, not a text message, but a notification from Tottenham that said a spirited performance brings us back to getting a draw against Bournemouth. And I'm sorry, but I don't see where that spirited draw come from. We got Papsar crossing a ball that, basically fluked it, and a very lucky penalty because the goalkeeper decided to have a brain fart. And that kind of brings us back into the game and gives us more than we deserved, if I'm being honest, more than we deserved. We created next to nothing, and we were all over the place in this game. So really hard done by for Bournemouth, I think, and we were very lucky. Now listen, a Tottenham fan, I'm going to take it. I'll take the draw because that's better than a loss, gives us a point and so on. But that is just not good enough. It's not good enough for a Tottenham team that wants to be seen as someone who is a serious player. But we are nowhere near that. We are miles and miles away. These players look like they have never played with each other before. After the Alkmaar game, you had Ange Postecoglou coming out saying, these players haven't played enough games together. And then before that, we had him saying these players are playing too many games, so they're tired. And I'm like, these guys are together every day, training every day. You can't tell me they cannot get a relationship together to understand what they're supposed to be doing. It's their job, right? It's their job to know what they should be doing. And I'm at a loss with it all, to be honest with you. It feels like we are just going down the road of excuse after excuse after excuse, because nobody seems to know what the answer is here. We are pretty much back to full strength. We've got Odegaard back, we've got Solanke back, we've got Romero back, we've got Van der Ven back. You know, you're looking at this and you're going, well, you know, you've got your players there, your main players, the ones that have really been missing, and yet we are nowhere at Vicario, obviously the other one. And to be fair, Vicario, if it wasn't for Vicario, we would have been 4-0 down in the first sort of 20 minutes. So I've got to give him a little bit of kudos for you know, the saves that he made. Romero is all over the place, absolutely all over the place. His passing was atrocious, just playing it into dangerous areas. Bissouma, far too deep, not being able to beat a man, turning into trouble, giving the ball away. Porro, far too far up the pitch, and in absolute no man's land. I get it, he's running forward and that, and he's looking to make a pass. But what a lazy, sloppy pass to Johnson, who is far too far away from him and not giving him the opportunity to play a forward ball. But if you're running forward like that and it's opening, and why not keep going? Why are you always just looking over here? There's other players around Porro, you know, and as soon as you give that ball away, you could see it was opening up and no one was getting anywhere near him. Romero's in the middle because obviously he's protecting against the middle players, and a fantastic ball goes over the top. And Jed Spence, who has been fantastic, and even yesterday I thought he was probably one of our better players, he's caught out, the ball goes behind him, and the player just, fantastic finish in my view. So the defence was just all over. I mean, bear in mind, he's playing left back when he's a right back. So you can't always just complain, but I mean, he's having good performances there. I thought him and Odegaard were linking up fairly well, you know, at times. You know, they were doing quite well. Odegaard getting into the final third and kind of taking players on. But again, crossing, you've got to cross the ball. There's no point getting to that byline and then cutting back and going back to Spence, who's then going to push it inside to whoever was inside, who's going to push it back, and then, you know, you're back into your defensive shape, and you're kind of just kicking it around this triangle. I mean, it just felt like we were bombing up the sides and then cutting in, back again, to go back out, to go, we're doing this all the time, and no one's kind of putting anything in there for a player like Solanke to attack. I mean, I can't blame Solanke because he's getting nothing. Like, he's fighting for scraps and he's coming deep to try and link up play and so on. And that's really, really not working. He's really not getting enough opportunity like that. So really, really difficult to watch. Midfield was non-existent. Bentancur was poor. Bissouma was poor. Sarr was poor as well. And it's only the fact that we made some changes that kind of felt like we were going to get anywhere in it. Son came on. Still don't think he's as bright as you want him to be. Maddison did look brighter. Bergvall, I thought, really made a difference in the game. I thought he was the one shining light who really kind of was trying to drag the game by the legs, kicking and screaming. He was trying to push forward all the time. You know, obviously, Odegaard moved to the right, and Spence moved to the right. Doggy came on, Son came on. So there's a lot of shuffling around within the game, obviously to try to give players some time back in their legs and so on, and to change the dimension. But it just devoid of idea. And, you know, the starting lineup literally had no creativity in it, in my view. It just didn't feel like anyone there was going to be able to pick a pass that was going to make a difference. And that's just been the story of our season. It's just a player will play well one game and then drop and become nothing the next. And you're running around scratching your head trying to understand who's our best 11, who's good coming off the bench, who can do something different. How do you adjust to it? I mean, people talk about Ange ball and about what we're supposed to be doing, this high press, We don't do any of that. We're not doing any of that. For me, I thought that the way that Bournemouth played was how we supposed to be expecting Tottenham to play. I just don't see it. I just feel like we are laboured and slow and cautious. The playing out from the back got called out on Sky Sports. But even when we go long and it goes to their players. So even that's not really the answer. But what you need is someone in that defence who's going to pick the ball up and make a run forward, push forward, and play it into someone more centrally who can hold up the ball, turn and play it to a creative player who can ping a pass. Whereas all we're doing is playing across this back line. So the keeper plays out to the left centre back, who plays it out wide, who plays it back to the keeper, who plays it out to the right centre back, who plays it out to the right back, who plays it forward to the midfielder, who plays it back to him, who plays it centrally, who plays it back to him, who plays it back. It's just not going anywhere. You're just round and round and round and round in circles and not really achieving any kind of forward momentum. So for me, I'm just bored with it. I'm just lost with it. And I am sure that Ange Postecoglou will go off after this stint at Tottenham, whenever that ends, and be a really good coach for somebody and continue to, win things and so on. But at Tottenham, it's just not working. It is just not working. And in my mind, I believe that he will be gone at the end of the season, regardless of how we pan out in the Europa. I think he'll be gone at the end of the season and we start the cycle again. I've no idea who's going to come in. If you're Iriola at Bournemouth, would you even consider it? If you're a manager who's looking to enhance your reputation, would you come to Tottenham? It's a graveyard for managers. They come there, they end up being ridiculed and ripped apart by the fan base, by the media, by the owner and so on, who's just protecting his own backside. And why would you want to? Why would you want to come and do that? I just don't get it. I just don't see where we're going from here, if I'm being honest. So yeah, really, really difficult day, really difficult feeling. I'm really lost about where we go from here and what the options are going to be and how we move forward as a football club, because I don't see the owners changing, and even if they do change, will the owner coming in want to be a football person or just a business person? Are they going to just want to make money, or are they going to be there for the glory? That's what you're kind of hoping for, is that they're coming for the glory, and they want to build, a football team that's able to compete. But at this moment, we are miles and miles away, and we've had all the excuses. And I was with it all through the injuries. I'm like, yeah, you haven't got the players. That makes a difference, and it does make a difference when you look at some of these other clubs that are struggling, where they've lost one or two players here and there, and so on. So it does make a difference. It's not just an excuse. But the problem is, when you're starting to get players back, that should then turn it around. We had this last season where we had great 10 games. It all went to pot. We started getting injuries and all the rest of it. And it was like, oh yeah, well they're off to the Asia Cup, or they're off to the Cup of AFCON or whatever it is. Once they're all back and playing, it'll be good, and we'll get all our players back. We're back firing again. And it never happened. And that poor performance from the middle of last season has just continued and just hasn't gone anywhere. And I'm not sure Ange Postecoglou knows how to even change it. I don't think he has a clue on what to do differently that's gonna turn it around. It's just how I feel. I look at some of these players and I just think to myself, I don't know where you're going. I don't know how you're going to get better because you're doing the same things. Yeah, I look at Brennan Johnson. Well, I think he's a great finisher, great at arriving late in the box and so on. But in terms of his attacking play, he doesn't beat a man and he doesn't cross a ball, and that's a real worry. And the same with Odebear. He is taking on a player, but then doesn't cross a ball. So it's really difficult at this moment in time. And I'm just picking out him as an example. Son, I'm concerned he's going to kill his legacy. For me, Son is a legend at Tottenham. He stayed with us when he didn't need to. He could have gone to anywhere else in other places, and so on. So he stayed with us. He stayed loyal. He's put in the performances. He's been a great player for us. But for me, I feel like he's losing his legacy, and he's going to end up leaving as being pushed out as a poor player and remembered as a poor player rather than the legend that he actually is. And I don't know what's behind it. Is he tired? Is he older? Is he losing form? Is he not interested? People say, oh, he's getting old and that's going to affect you. But he's the same age as Salah. So is that an excuse? Is that just his body? It depends on the person. But I'm worried for him because I don't want him to be leaving because he's pushed out by a fan base that's turning on him, rather than him kind of moving on for pastures new before he declines too much further. I don't believe he's been the right sort of captain for us. I get the captain does other stuff apart from G the team up, but he should be the manager's mouthpiece. He should be the person who's looking at our performance and going, this ain't working, you need to do this, and telling players what they need to do and how to get them across, not just by leading by example and being a nice guy and putting his arms around people and bringing youngsters through. I get it, and this isn't about just slagging off Son either. All of these players have a responsibility. I don't think any of these players can really come out and say that they're performing to the best of their ability, apart from maybe Spence, Bergvall and Archie Gray, even if he gets an opportunity. And again, not used. And I get it, he's played a lot of football, but in that, for me, I think, Bergvall, Gray, Maddison, probably, that feels like the most informed players. And even Maddison, I don't, Roy Keane was right. If you're relying on him to be your man, your driving force, then that's a concern, because as good a player as he is, it's not working to that level for him. So, it feels really, really negative at the moment. I feel really, really negative at the moment. I'm trying hard to stay connected and motivated by it. But the only thing that really helps me is all my friends at Tottenham, all my pals, all my connections, the people that watch these channels that talk to me and stuff like that. It makes me feel part of it. It feels like a community. My football team is not making me feel like that. So, yeah, a really, really difficult one. The game was poor from our perspective. We didn't do very well. The team selection wasn't great. Lack of creativity, fluke to goal, lucky penalty because of the keeper mistake. You get a draw out of it and you accept it. But this is going to be a difficult run now. A difficult run. We've got Fulham and Chelsea, and I just don't see where our run's going to come from. AZ Alkmaar on Thursday, down 1-0. Can we beat them? We should be able to beat them. We should be able to beat that team. This is not a massive team. We have, even the players we have and the good pitch that we have should help us beat them. So I'm still confident that we can progress in this competition. But again, it's going to be difficult. If they score first, it's bad news. So let's see how it goes. On Tuesday, I'll be live talking about this game and looking ahead at the AZ game and further forward. Live on YouTube or Facebook at 19:30. Please do feel worth coming along, letting us know you're there. Give us that support. It would be great to have some more people viewing that and letting us know how that's going and chatting to us about how you're feeling as a Tottenham fan at the moment and what you want to see happen going forward. But anyway, I've rabbited on. I'll leave it there for now. As always, up the Spurs.